Hey everyone, Metagross Freak here with Bionicle set number 71306. We have here Pohatu, Uniter of Stone. Um, Pohatu is probably the 2016 set I've been looking forward to the most, and that's mostly because Pohatu is my favorite character of the original 6 Toa. Now, normally I don't do the whole thing with taking stuff out of the box. That's because I wanted to talk a little bit about Pohatu before I really get into it. And I know there's a lot of glare, that's because I have a really strong light, so forgive me about that. I'm getting used to this new light. The point I was trying to make was that Pohatu kind of got the short end of the stick last year. He was literally the shortest Toa, and he had the least amount of parts and the least amount of armor. So I'm actually really looking forward to this set. Pohatu is my favorite character, so let me get into what you came to see. Pohatu Uniter of Stone is still kind of a small set. It's only 90 pieces, but we do get a good number of pieces that are pretty interesting. We get 2 of these silver Vorox armors introduced in the Glatorian years, the last 2 years of Bionicle. These come in silver. This is a nice piece, and it's been used pretty darn well in the Kopaka and Gali sets I've already looked at, and it looks like the shoulder armor build they use these pieces for is very similar to Pohatu, and I liked the shoulders they did with Kopaka. It took some while to get used to them, so I think I'm going to like how they use them with Pohatu. We get 2 crystal armor pieces. I actually really like this piece because of the detail and the coloration. And it uses a blend of silver and trans lime. It's a very nice piece, probably one of my favorite pieces from the 2016 line, and we get 2 of those. We get 1 crystal sword. This is the same piece that comes in Gali, Kopaka, Tahu, Liwa, and Pohatu, and Liwa and Pohatu both have it in the lime green color. I think this looks really cool. It kind of looks like it's a sword coated in acid, and it goes really well with all the trans lime pieces that go with Pohatu. So I'm really excited about this piece. I think it is a really good piece, and at certain angles you can really get some good really get some good texture. So I'm glad we get another one of these pieces. Next up, we get a standard Lego Rock System Rock, originally made for Rock Raiders, but seen in Pohatu from 2001, and emulated with the Codon Ball from 2002's Pohatu Nuva. I'm glad to see them bringing a bolder weapon back. We have the piece of Unity. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of the piece. It's a good throwback to the original Bionicle series, but I really don't think it's all that great. And I think LEGO is a little too dependent on this piece as a selling point. The only thing I really like about it is that it gives some added muscle and structure to the neck at certain angles. Next up, we have the new eye stalk, as opposed to the eye stalks last year. These eye stalks, when fit into a standard skull, are a lot shorter, so you're less likely to accidentally flip out the head. It comes in blue, and I believe he is one of the only Toa. Yeah, never mind. All of the 2016 Toa, to my memory, have blue eyes, so that's kind of interesting. Next up, we have the new torso bit. I find that these are pretty cool. They, you sacrifice the gearbox function in order to have more custom shoulders and torso, and the new waist piece, which plugs in similar to the gearbox. Not the gearbox, the launcher from 2015's Stud Shooters, and the joint for this for Gali was really squeaky. This isn't squeaky, but if you add a tiny little bit of WD-40, if you just spray that into one of those 2 little slots on the front or the back, that solves all the squeak problem. My Gali does not have any squeaks to it, so cool piece, and I really like how it lets you customize it. And I'm actually going to be trying to find a way to combine the two, so you can have both the working waist and the gearbox. But that probably won't be for a couple months, probably, because I probably will not have time during the spring semester. Next up, new color introduced for Bionicle. We have a tan, a sandy tan. Last year, LEGO removed the original brown to bring us this burnt orange color, which is a great color for Pohatu. And now they have even less burnt orange, only 3 pieces actually, and give us 3 pieces of this tan. So it's an interesting color. I love the print they have here, especially with Pohatu's Nuva symbol, and kind of looks like an urban camo pattern. I really like the print on the torso. Got a little bit of a print down there on the stomach, and 2 standard CCBS shells in tan as well. I like these pieces. It definitely gives Pohatu more of a desert vibe, lending more, of course, to the not the Pohatu, but the Bionicle sets from the Glatorian era when it was the Tribe of Sand. So definitely LEGO is leaning more stone towards the sand with the whole sandstorm, sand color, and I like that. Because there wasn't really a lot of definition between sand and earth in the original Bionicle series, sorry, stone and earth, and then they introduced sand. So it's like they have 3 that are all similar, but now they're definitely going earth in a different direction than sand, and I like that. We have one flick fire missile piece, and this is actually to keep the boulder, the system boulder, together. That way the top doesn't pop off. If I can, it's new, so, but it plugs in on the inside of the boulder shell, and it's actually kind of a cool build. But it's kind of cool to have a little flick fire missile piece. It's a unique use of this piece, and I hope to see more things like that, because that's cool. We have 5 lengths of chain. I know that's not all that special, but the chain for Bionicle was introduced with 2006's Huiki, whatever it is, Anika. And it was called a climbing chain that was used on the laser axe. And Huiki Mari had standard system chains for which were electrified. And also kind of as a little bit of an homage to Onua, or Wanawa, Metru, who had kind of a chain weapon who had kind of a chain on his proto-pythons, and as well as Onawa Hordika, who had kind of a chain on his club claws. So chains going with stone are kind of a reoccurring theme. So I'm happy to see some chains, which is kind of it's a good throwback to the original series. So lastly, what you're here for is the 2 masks. We have the silver and brown mask of stone, and the gold and trans green blended stone mask. Here's a side-by-side comparison with 2015 and 2016 Pohatu masks. You can definitely see it is a direct translation. They just kind of added a little bit more curve to the side like they did with the original Pohatu Nuva mask, and added kind of the crystal hair, I guess is what the popular fan name for it is. I really like the blend of the silver and the brown, just like how I like the blend of the gold and the trans lime, though I definitely like this blend more. I think this is probably the best mask conversion from Master to Uniter of all 6. So here is Pohatu in all of his unarmored glory. You'll notice he has 2 trans lime Borak eyes, kind of making these weird these hooks off of his elbows. That's kind of nice. I like Borak eyes. He doesn't have a lot of brown on him, though. He has a good amount of lime green with the shoulders, the forearms, and the calves. However, he has a little bit of the burnt orange, or the orange-brown on his upper arms, and a little bit of dark brown here on the back, and that's all he has on the back. He doesn't have any Borak eyes or anything. However, there is an open stud here, an open port, so I'm going to take that little stud that I made in the last clip, and plug that right in the back, just to give him a little bit more personalization. and to give him a little bit more of one of his main colors, just because I want there to be more detail in the back. Alright, to armor him up, he uses 2 of his tan shells on his upper thighs, and also Pohatu has the friction leg extenders on his upper thighs and on the ankles, so he actually is taller than his model last year because of those 2 pieces, and I appreciate that. Yeah, we have the 2 tan pieces here. We have 2 silver pieces with the crystal armor, and that goes on his calves, though I'm a little disappointed that the crystal armor covers up part of the tan. You think with a new color, you'd want to show more of it off. So that's a little bit of a disappointment, but if I decide I like it more, I might actually switch them so the crystal armor is on top and the tan is on the bottom. I don't know. I might do that. Next we put the trans light green on his wrists, so he has a very, very tan green, or not tan green, very, very trans lime wrists. Looks really good, though I kind of wish they had either used the burnt orange brown or the tan, either or. I'm not complaining too much, but I kind of wish they had, gone with that, because he needs more brown on him. Or more tan. I don't really care as long as I get some more of something. There's the chest piece, and I think that looks really good. That looks good as it is. I think the shoulders, could use some armor at this point, but as is, that looks really good. Has a good turnaround. As you can see, the shoulders are almost identical to the Kopako ones. However, these are not as load-bearing. If you remember from the Kopaka video, this is almost an identical build, except it's just a little bit different, a little less load-bearing due to the weapons. And the 2 Vorok's armor are basically used as shells, clipping right over the shoulders. I'm going to have to angle these a little bit more, with the peg going through the top hole on both. This does give them a little bit of a wiggle, but for the most part, they are nice shoulders. There we go. I'll pop on Pohatu's Mask of Stone. And the lever function is a lot stronger. I'm tapping on this, and it is not popping his mask off. But there you go. With the colors and the kind of... He has a very gladiator warrior feel, and I like that. I like that about Pohatu. Now, his weapons are kind of interesting. He has a polearm, which is supposed to connect the crystal flail and the crystal sword. However, I don't think that's necessary. Oop! I accidentally put away the red axle by mistake. Sorry, one of those red axles was not extra. That was my mistake. Now, technically it all attaches like this. Now, if you switched these 2 pieces around, pretend this is the opposite hand, I think it'd be really cool if Pohatu had a flail, had a little flail, and had kind of a spear if you use the staff piece. I think it'd be cool if he had 2 weapons like that. That looks really great to me. However, officially, the weapon is held like this. Pohatu is apparently left-handed because he holds his crystal flail weapon as he would a left-handed axe or spear. And so the crystal flail ball kind of just falls on the ground. Unless you angle it a little better. But there you go. You can get some really nice poses with that. Yeah. 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 If you wanted to do the other way around, you certainly could. It's not impossible. I mean, you'd probably want to flip the hand around so that the fingers are facing the opposite way, but due to the length of the flail and his somewhat shorter arms, you can't get too much, let's turn the head. You can't get too much of a flail reach, but you can get kind of that flail ball. I'm sorry if the camera's lagging, but it does swing if you want it to. Though he does hit himself in the shoulder quite a few times. So if you want to go with your standard pole arm, you can, though I would also recommend going for a spear kind of staff and a flail. Both are good options, and I think both look really good with Pohatu. Let me just switch out the mask here. It's kind of a tight little pop, so you will not be knocking this mask off easily. And there it is with the golden mask. Again, I don't think the gold looks as good, though I do kind of wish they had done brown with the trans green like they did with, kind of like what they did with Skull Scopio. I kind of would have liked to see something more like that. But the gold's okay, but I definitely think it is a little distracting to the color scheme that is, that we have. We have 3 pieces in tan, we have 3 pieces in orange-brown, and there are some brown decals of both the new brown and the old brown on here, but I don't count that as a separate piece. So I think we have 3 pieces of the new brown, 3 pieces of tan, and counting them, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of the old brown. So color scheme a little inconsistent with this set. That's perfectly fine, though. They're definitely trying to give Pohatu more of a new feel. And while it's true that his maybe his build is a little confusing color-wise, he definitely didn't get the short end of the stick this time around. He has a cool weapon, not as cool as his boomerangs, but he has a cool weapon. He has some new colors. I love the new color they have with him, and I think of the 2016 mask molds, he has the coolest mold. So thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm Metagross Freak, and have a good one. Peace out.